Today's guest on LifeX is a queen of cryptocurrency, actress, model, dating coach, investment consultant, and an entrepreneur. She turned her personal tragedy into becoming one of the best dating coach. In 2007, she had the courage to move to Los Angeles in pursuit of her dreams. She was a dead broke, but full of hustle and grind for a better life. Through perseverance, massive tenacity, and a dogged determination, without any formal education, she went on becoming expert in cryptocurrency and made huge amount of money. But it was 2012 when she reached the promised land, when she started her own company, Bellinity, which is a tool to connect people to their favorite celebrity influencers via broadcast. This idea was like a time zone, it was way ahead. Her advice is like a key which unlocks and solves any kind of a conflict in a relationship. She has acted in various music videos and has been featured as a model in Max magazine. There is nothing in this world which she can't do. Wherever she goes, she turns that field into gold. She's a Mozart of dating world. So guys, please raise up the volume of the podcast and welcome the woman who is taking the world by absolute storm, the invincible and gorgeous Chelsea Penner.
Wow, thank you so much. What an introduction, Caleb. I am just in awe. Jeez, thank you so much. I'm honored.
You're most welcome. And you know what? This is a well earned intro. You deserve this.
No, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you and answer any questions you may have and what kind of curiosities you have about my life and my background.
Yeah, and it's an honor for us to have you on our show. So we want to start with this. Why did you left your corporate job and decided to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I had a couple corporate jobs. One of them was a desk job. I was an executive recruiter for clinical pharmacists, and I felt like I was in jail sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I couldn't believe after I graduated college, I couldn't believe that people did that, regularly. So I, I actually, before I quit altogether, I became a pharmaceutical sales rep, specialty ophthalmology. I was headhunted into that, and that was a good bridgeway to entrepreneurism because um, you don't have to go to an office every day and work a specific amount of time. You do have a boss and you are responsible for numbers. So that job taught me to be, I guess, somewhat self managed um, because I had to, I had to basically provide sales for a company with no schedule, no office, no boss that was right there in the same city as me looking over my head telling me what to do. So I just learned how to be successful without someone telling me to be successful in a corporate environment. And I loved how much more free it was than working at a desk job, but I still wanted more. I still wanted to be my own boss. I still wanted to work on my own companies instead of selling for someone else. So the blessing was we all got laid off. All the over the counter reps got laid off. And Oregon is an amazing state. And that's where I was working at the time because they offer a program called self employment. Self employment is an option that you can accept that's similar to unemployment, except with self employment, they're encouraging you to make money and they're encouraging you to start a business. So you have to check in weekly with someone. You have to show that you're working on this business plan, that you completed the business plan, that you're accepting clients, that you have a space. I had my own space. The first, I guess, career path I took as an entrepreneur was I was a personal trainer. and I had my own studio in Portland, Oregon. And I got self employment at the very beginning of that to start this business. And I'm so grateful for Oregon for having that program. And I don't know if other states have that program. You can always look it up. So as a personal trainer, I got my certificate. I got actually a couple certifications with personal training, and I loved it, but I wanted more in life. And I also realized that my clients needed more than just fitness training. Usually, they had a lot of mental issues, I guess is the best word to put it, because sometimes they would emotionally eat. Sometimes they just didn't have enough self love, so they would just eat whatever they wanted. They would eat junk food and just eat crap. They didn't want to work out, so it's just not a lot of self love. So I became a life coach while I was a personal trainer, and I got my certification in that as well. And I'm really glad I did that because that was the beginning of my coaching career, and that was about I want to say 13 years ago, somewhere around that.
And Chelsea, I mean, you have changed your career. Like in every year, you got a new career. You were a model, you were an actress, and then you have did graduation in conflict resolution and communication, and then you were a personal trainer, and then you're saying that becoming a dating coach. So how do you make that shift so easily? Like I'm gonna pursue a new career.
You know what's interesting is the things that I do don't require me to necessarily stop doing the other thing that I do. So I actually started modeling and acting when I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. And I actually started personal training around the same time. And what's really great about doing these things is that you have freedom. You have time freedom and you have freedom in your schedule to squeeze in a personal training session during your lunchtime, and you can squeeze in an audition. You can have a day where you just focus on my modeling gig. So I had the time freedom and the schedule freedom to be able to fit all those things in my schedule. And I continue to do so as an entrepreneur. I continue to have the type of schedule where I can have one day where I focus on modeling, one day where I focus on coaching, or I can choose to, if I want to, work a little bit on everything all in the same day. Some things, like a music video, for example, that can take a really long time to shoot. So on days like that, I just have to dedicate it to, my acting and modeling side. And sometimes I have a client I have to go fly to for a full immersion coaching session. And of course, those days I pretty much block out just for coaching. But with my schedule, if I don't have a huge time constraint, such as the full immersion with clients and music video or a photo shoot, then my day is broken up into focusing on almost everything in one day.
And Chelsea, your answer was very great. And may I know how do you get the idea for your company, Belnity? Because it was 2012 and it wasn't the era of Instagram influencers or celebrities. Is it like a gut feeling you had in 2012 that this is going to be a very successful idea? Because now we all know how successful and how bigger the Instagram influencers marketing is.
Yeah, that's a really great question. Thank you. So when I was on MySpace, actually, which was obviously a long, long time ago, when I was on MySpace putting up my modeling pictures, and that was the first social media that I was aware of. It was also the first social media platform that I posted modeling pictures. And I did it because, it's something I was proud of. It was something that I enjoyed to do. I still consider it a really fun paid hobby. Um, so at the time when I would post these pictures, people would ask me questions. They would write me messages and they would say, "How do you get your hair like that? How did you do your makeup like that? How do you get your body like that?" And I didn't have time to respond to everybody because, my day obviously is pretty busy, where I'm focused on personal training clients, I'm focused on modeling gigs, I'm focused on acting gigs, I'm focused on anything else in my future because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm always coming up with ideas. And so I felt like there's got to be a better way because I really want to help these people, but I obviously don't have time to respond to everybody. So I brainstormed for a really long time. And when I came up with my idea, I think it was too far in advance because investors kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and I kind of was wondering what word I should use for these people online that have a big following. So I thought influencer was a good word, but hardly anyone was using that word at the time. But I decided to call influencer. So investors were like, "What the hell are influencers?" Again, this is 2012. But investors didn't think that this was very valuable. They're like, well, we don't know why people would use this. And I said, well, I'm not even famous. And I have people writing me, asking me questions all the time. And I'm not even like a huge celebrity of any kind. I don't even have millions of followers. And people are wanting to know these, the answers. I can only imagine, somebody that has a million followers or an actual celebrity. I'm sure that they get hit up way more than I do. So that's how I came up with the idea because of what was happening in my inbox on MySpace. And even when I first, I guess, got on Facebook, when I was very reluctant to get on Facebook because I loved MySpace so much. I put so much time, effort, and energy into it. I loved it. I had so much fun. Um, but I said, there's obviously a need. And another part of me was determined to start Belinity because when I first moved to LA, all the acting auditions I went to, besides the first one I actually got because they did not sexually harass me, but all of these acting auditions had a casting director or whoever was in charge of the casting that sexually harassed me. And so it was just another, reason for me to really want to start something. Before I came up with the name Belinity, I knew I wanted to start it because I wanted to empower people in my position that had a following, that had people that wanted to know what they had to say, and just directly connect us to them and monetize it and cut out that middleman. I felt like these casting directors had way too much power, and they did back then. They had way too much power. I'm glad the Me Too movement happened because I tried to start the Me Too movement, but no one really gave a crap about me. No one, who are you? I was new to LA and they didn't care. Again, I wasn't Rose or anyone famous, so they're just like, oh, it's just Hollywood, deal with it. So, no, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to start a business. That's what I'm going to do. So that's um, the huge passion behind Belinity, and the value behind it was, again, wanting to help people that would message me but not having enough time.
Chelsea, thank you so much for opening up your heart. I mean, I really think that this app or website is going to be very successful because, because a lot of people can learn from that. I mean, they can be mentor because it's very difficult on Instagram to contact someone who's having 600K followers because they have so much DM. And in future, I know it has taken a lot of time to to be, I guess, to put your vision into reality. And now in future, is it that you are going to have a Belnity on Play Store or iTunes Store, or is just a website?
Right now it's a website because we're beta testing and we're gathering a lot of information so that we can finish the app the way that in a different way, because the website, again, I came up with the idea in 2012, so it's a little outdated, and we want the app to be updated, but we're trying to gather enough information to see if people like the bidding part of it or if they don't, if they like the searching part of it or if they don't. So we're gathering all that kind of information before we pour the necessary funds into finishing the app. And we have the wireframe of it. But again, we wanted to make sure that we got everything the way people want it before doing the app. And I just hired a CEO, thank goodness, because and one of the reasons why this has taken so long is I've realized I was trying to get away from the sexual harassment in Hollywood, only to find it's also in technology. Just being a female CEO, maybe because I'm blonde is part of it, I'm not sure, but I definitely get a lot of the sexual harassment. I get a lot of the gender discrimination. In fact, so much I have CTOs and I had a CFO. Well, I've had a couple CFOs, and my team is all men, and a lot of them are minorities. And what they said blew my mind. They said they've never seen so much discrimination before in their life. And they're minorities. Some of them are Indian, one of them's African American, one of them's mixed. And none of them had seen the kind of discrimination that I have faced with getting this business up and running. So for a lot of those reasons, we have been behind. I've been scammed. I've been sexually harassed. It's just a nightmare. So I decided it's better if I have a male CEO and I can stay the founder. I'll stay the visionary and founder, and but it's better to have a male CEO, and that's a decision I made to, I guess, for the success of the company. And I don't have an ego, so there's no reason for me to hang on to a title if it's making our business suffer. So I'm happy that I finally found a CEO that I really like, and we're still learning each other. And he's gathering information on this beta test, and hopefully we'll get the app up this year. We'll probably have enough information to launch the app, and we'll probably have it changed quite a bit than what it is right now. So it'll be basically like a whole revamp of what it is right now.
Great. And Chelsea, I'm so sorry for that. I mean, to take you back to your dark days for talking about the sexual harassment, because I'm really sorry. I don't want to open that topic, but all I can say that, it's really kind of insane too, because most people think that posting happy pictures on Instagram makes you think that their life is perfect. But I guess if you walk through that person, you will see the dark spot also, what that person has suffered. We just only see pictures on Instagram and think like she's blonde, she's beautiful, she's going to be very happy and she don't have any kind of trouble. But when you tell those things to people and they are like, no, this can't happen.
Yeah, I am a very positive person. I've been through so much. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg compared to everything I've been through. But that's what defines us. That's what makes us strong and wise and evolved.
Yes, and adversity is the foundation of success.
Absolutely. Yes. 100%.
And what was your journey like becoming a crypto goddess? And how did you fall in love with cryptocurrency as you did a degree in communication?
Well, my degree is in communication, which serves me really well with my dating, coaching, and love mentor business, because a lot of the mistakes we make are in communication. With cryptocurrency, I've been in tech, like we were just talking about Belinity. Because I've been in technology for a while, I heard about Bitcoin from engineers and other people that are in technology. I've been going to tech meetups for a while. And when I first heard about Bitcoin, I definitely did not take it very serious. I thought it was just, play money and just wouldn't really go anywhere. And then, it started gaining some momentum. When it hit $700, I said, okay, what? This stuff is serious. So I decided to do more research, and I found mining, and I started mining. And I guess, I mean, I was so excited about my new venture in cryptocurrency that I decided to start posting it on social media. Not really thinking I'd become the crypto goddess, more along the lines of, I really like this. This is really awesome. I'm now a cryptocurrency miner. I own mining machines. This is pretty cool. Um, and then I was really excited about the momentum that Bitcoin and Ethereum was having. So I kept posting the price is going up. This is so awesome. So I became one of the first female cryptocurrency influencers on social media because I started posting about it before anyone else really was on Instagram and Facebook. A lot of people were posting about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency on YouTube, but not as much on Instagram and Facebook. So that's how I became the crypto goddess. Some people started, when they were following me, I gained a pretty significant following pretty fast, and I appreciate that so much. I love all my followers and people that watch me grow and learn with me. I love you guys so much. Um, so I started gaining momentum with followers, and people started making these really cool memes with some of my modeling pictures and Bitcoin together, and it reminded people of like a crypto goddess. And that's how I came up with my name, because people were like, oh, you're like a crypto goddess. And I was like, oh, I love that. So that's how I came up with the name. And it's a brand, you know.
Yeah, and I have seen few meme and they are quite funny also.
Yeah, I like to post funny stuff on all my pages. I have a sense of humor. A lot of these crypto goddess memes, and sometimes my followers are really sweet, but sometimes they just choose the really sexy modeling photos. And I have to say, can you please pick some photos that are a little less sexy so I can use those memes? But yeah, it's been really fun. The cryptocurrency thing, I consider myself to be an educator. So I help people learn about cryptocurrency. A lot of people write me messages, and even though I have a pretty big following on that page, I try to get back to pretty much everybody, especially if they're writing me about something important, like, can you teach me about cryptocurrency? Or can you teach me what to invest in or how to invest in cryptocurrency? So I always get back to everybody. I usually try to steer them to my website, because my website has free educational emails, www.thecryptogoddess.com. But I also offer people some extra resources and send them some information so they can learn about cryptocurrency. And then I also send them some information on what to invest in. And I focus on things that are safe. And I focus on things that are reliable and are sustainable. Sometimes I'll post ads on my social media, but I make sure that I say in the fine print, basically in my caption, that this is an ad. And just because I post it doesn't mean I've tried it. But if someone writes me individually, I definitely tell them, what's something as an ad, and what I actually recommend. So people really like how interactive I am on social media. They like that I answer their questions. I'm not going to reply to everybody, especially if people are just writing me, hi, hello, hi. But I definitely try to answer people's questions.
Wow, and I guess we rise by lifting others. And here is one dating question. Do you think people should fall in love in their 20s, or they should focus on building themselves and their career?
Um, I think that it just depends. It's different person to person. Um, because if you're mature enough, then why wait? If you're mature enough. And also, I fell in love for the first time in my 20s, and I don't regret it at all. It was a huge, huge pivotal point for me. I learned so much from it. Um, because I wasn't perfect at relationships and I was just learning, I came across the book for the first time, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And that's when I really started stepping up my relationship skills. So yeah, I don't regret at all falling in love in my 20s. I do think a lot of people aren't really ready for marriage in their 20s. So being in love and marriage are two different things. Do I think people should marry in their 20s? Well, I don't like the word should, but I think that it's really early, because you're just learning who you are in your 20s. And you can't really, it's hard to say, I will love you forever through thick and thin, through everything, not really knowing who you are at that point because you might evolve into someone completely different. I know I have.
Having one dilemma when it comes down to the word love, because there are a lot of motivational speakers like Jay Shetty and Ed Mallett. They always say find someone who can inspire you, who can lift you, and who can help you in achieving your goals. But when it comes down to reality, how can someone find this type of person in reality? Because right now I'm in college and I don't find anyone who can help me in achieving my goal.
Oh, yeah, you're still really young. That's because they're all still finding themselves at that age. The only thing they can really add when they're that young is just an experience, like just playing house and just getting the experience of a relationship. Sometimes the relationship itself is the blessing, is something that will propel you to the next level in life, and it's advanced spirituality because you can love yourself and work on yourself all day and night till you're blue in the face, and then when you get in a relationship, they're reflecting something back at you that you're not recognizing. So the beauty of relationships is that you will find every imperfection that you have when you're in a relationship with someone else. And so that's a beautiful thing because you'll learn a lot about yourself just being in a relationship, whether or not they're helping you with your goals, your business or whatever goals. It's besides the point. They're really helping you learn who you are, which is huge.
And Chelsea, when there are men who ask you for a dating tips, so what is the criteria? Is it like that, if I'm asking you for a dating tip, or you're going to tell me that first you are going to love yourself, first is that point, and you have to find out your shit first, find out what your current situation is. So what's your criteria in that type of case when men ask you for dating tips?
Well, a lot of people ask me for dating tips, and I don't have time to respond to everybody. So I usually have them do an initial consultation, and I can't answer that question very generically because everybody has a different issue in their life. Everybody is at a different stage in their life. Everybody you can't box everybody in the same box. That's just, you can't. Like, for example, you and me are in completely different places in our life. So if I have, questions that I need to ask, they're going to be completely different than your questions. So no one's going to be able to answer our question the same one way.
In the dating world, can we forgive someone who has caused us pain and destroyed our hopes and dreams completely?
Yeah, well, it's not easy to do. It's, of course, easier said than done. But when you hold on to resentment and pain and anger towards someone else, then you're doing yourself a disfavor because you're holding a lot of negative energy inside of yourself and you're causing yourself harm. So, as much as you don't want to forgive the other person, it's essential in your healing process to do so. Otherwise, you won't be able to move on and you'll kind of, I guess, what's the best phrase? Like, stay in that spot. Like, let's say this happened when you're 13 years old, you got really hurt by somebody. You'll stay at the emotional maturity of a 13-year-old for as long as it takes until you actually do the healing and the work, the inner work on yourself to let that go. And part of the inner work is forgiving. So if you have an emotional trauma at a certain age and you never healed it, then you're walking around at that emotional maturity level. So that's kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, it's insane to be think about. And I want to be open with you. I was having one crush when I was in high school, and you know what? We were like 2, 3 years together, but now she's getting married next month. And the only fear I have right now is that what if I don't feel the way I felt with her?
Well, I can guarantee that you will. Because, and again, this is my opinion and not, everybody may agree, but you have multiple soulmates that you have a choice of in this lifetime. And that she might have been possibly one of them. Maybe we don't know. Although you guys are really young, so no one really knows. But let go of the fact that she is the best and the only one, because trust me, much, much better is to come, especially when you are done with college and are working your full time, and you're, especially in your 30s, you're going to get to a point where women are going to be so much better than they were in high school. They're going to be mature, they're more capable of love, they have more self-worth, they're going to be more capable of loving you the way that you deserve. And you're going to say, "Ugh, that chick in high school, I can't believe I had a crush on a girl like that," because here I am with my queen when I'm 30. So it'll get so much better, trust me. And I don't even know who she is. I don't even need to know, because when you're that young, it's more of like a puppy love kind of thing. And when you get older, when you actually love yourself, you have more capacity to love someone else. That's true love. And when you experience the true love, then you'll really know the difference. You'll say, "Oh, okay, now I see. I get it now."
Absolutely. And I have one phrase for you, this kind of a weird phrase, but I just want to ask you, do you agree with this statement or not? It's like women think clearly before sex, men think clearly after sex. Do you agree with this statement?
Not 100%. Because men, it's like a release for men, so they get really tired afterwards, actually, and they usually don't think straight afterwards either. Um, I don't think that a lot of women are thinking straight before either, because a lot of women, well, it depends again on where they're at emotionally, but a lot of women can feel like, again, well, I don't know. It just depends. Like, actually, let me ask you, is this the first time that a couple is having sex, or are they married, or who is this couple?
Men always demand for sex before they are even into relationship with the girl, and a woman always demand for love. So in that scenario I was talking about.
So this is before the relationship.
Yeah, just I mean they're having imaginative thinking.
Yeah, so I don't think the woman's thinking clearly before either.
Okay, so and what was your struggle when you moved from Portland to Los Angeles to pursue an acting and modeling career? And I just want to ask you that have you stopped pursuing this acting career or you're still going to do in future?
Well, I know how to act because I took over 7 years of acting training. And once you learn how to do something, you never unlearn it. It's kind of like riding a bike, you know? So if my agent were to call me and say, "Hey, I have a gig for you," then I would listen to her. And if I'm available, I would go. Just like I went to a Dirty John, I think that's what it's called, Dirty John. It's a new Bravo TV series about a guy that conned cougars. So I was in that show, and I don't act all day every day, but it was something that she said fit me really well because of what they were asking for the part. So yeah, those are random gigs I get every once in a while, and it's fun for me. It's like a paid hobby. I get music video offers. Like I even got one today, actually. So yeah, yeah. But I couldn't do it because I flew in. I just flew in back into LA from being out of town, so I couldn't do the music video. But it's just, to me, it's just fun. It's like those are like a party for me, but I get paid to party, if that makes sense. That's my version of fun. I'd much rather get paid to do an acting gig than go to an actual party.
Yeah, it make perfect sense. And you know what? I read somewhere that working hard for something which you love is called passion, and working hard for something which you don't love is called stress. So it is your passion, and you don't feel even tired even doing it again and again.
No, it's fun for me, and I haven't put a lot of energy into making it like a full time career, where I'm memorizing 10 pages of scripts to do a huge part, and going to auditions all week, every week. I don't dedicate myself like that. And it was mostly because of the sexual harassment. And then I went into this very introverted stage of my life where I didn't even want to come out of my cave and audition. And I actually was even wanting to ugly myself up a little bit because I was like, I felt like hiding because I felt like I wasn't safe if I didn't. Anyway, I'm glad I'm past that stage.
Kind of shocked when you said those words. I was like, no way, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're sexually harassed at every single audition when you first move here, you become a little traumatized too. I thought I was taking it personal, like I'm doing something wrong, so I maybe I should look different, so I had to kind of like go deep inside and hide, for a while. And it was a kind of a tough time. I wouldn't say depressing, but it was a very down, dark moment of my life because I was just regrouping, like, oh my gosh, this is my career, my passion. And now I don't know if I want to go through this. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So and that's when I was like really trying to come up with that idea for Belinity. I was like, okay, I really need to come up with this idea. So, what am I going to do? So yeah, it's something I still do for fun. I still like to do it, but it's not like a career thing of mine right now. So it's more just a paid hobby, like modeling. Modeling is a paid hobby as well.
So, Chelsea, you have earned so much respect. When I was hearing that answer, my heart was completely meltdown when you said that I want to become ugly so that I can't be beautiful, so that I won't be sexually harassed. But I guess a man can't touch woman's body without their permission, because I guess if you're touching a woman's body without their permission, that's kind of sexually harassed, but it's kind of small harassment. But I guess if you are touching woman's body, you should have their permission first. And I want to ask you one thing: were there any struggle moving from Portland to Los Angeles? Because I have read about you that in Portland that you have a dream lover who went to Japan, and you were not having good relationship with your parents also.
Yeah, yeah, you've done your research on me. I think that was one of my podcasts. So yeah, my first love was in my early 20s, and I wanted to get away from the heartbreak. And my parents and, well, my family and I weren't really seeing eye to eye because I was evolving. So I just wanted to get away. And I wasn't in the best financial position to move because I was still building my businesses from the ground up, but I, really wanted to get to LA. So I just made it happen, and I didn't know anybody here. Yeah, of course it was a struggle because my rent went from, like, I had a huge duplex with a big yard. I paid like, I think, 550 a month for like a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, really nice. And then I moved to Santa Monica and I paid almost 1,800 a month for a 550 square foot little tiny apartment, little tiny apartment in Santa Monica. So it was a big move for me. I was like, wow, I'm really gonna have to hustle. I'm really gonna have to make more money and do this. Like I'm gonna have to just put my brain power into full effect and make this happen. I didn't save a ton of money to move here, so it was a struggle for me at first. And, being an entrepreneur, I go through a lot of struggling moments. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, especially because Belinity has been so expensive and time consuming. And also all the scams too. So it hasn't been the easiest um, journey for me. However, it has been the most character defining journey for me.
Absolutely. And I guess if you are not focused on result and you enjoy the process, then you are going to be much happier because you are not, I mean, having happiness on the the journey part, the destination part, because most of the people are like, when I will achieve that much amount of money, then I will be happy. But if you're actually loving the process, then you are going to achieve success. And Chelsea, how do you differentiate love, infatuation, and lust in your own language?
So lust is mostly like a sexual attraction and a sexual bond. Um, Love is something you can experience with somebody that's not just your romantic partner. Love means that you love everything about not only yourself, but whoever you're in a relationship with or whoever you're in front of at that moment. It's non duality, meaning there is no you versus them, no enemies. All that talk that Jesus talked about is a non duality love language. Um, so love means you are one with each other and love everything about them. And then you said love, lust, and then what was the third one?
Infatuation.
Infatuation. Infatuation can be like a really strong adoration. So it doesn't have to be sexual like lust is, but it can be like, an infatuation with a celebrity or like a crush on someone that you've never met before, or a crush on someone that you have met but have never been intimate with. So that's what I consider to be infatuation, just like this, oh, I really adore you, and I like who you are as a person, and I'm infatuated.
Great. And Chelsea, here is your last question. What is the impact you want to have on the world?
What is the impact I will have on the world?
Want to have on the world?
Want to. Well, I want to see more love in our world. I think that's my number one passion. I think that if we all had more love for ourselves and others, that this world would be a much better place. We would take better care of our planet. We would take better care of ourselves. We would take better care of each other. We would have less trauma. We would have less drama. We would have less wars. We would have less violence. I think that's the cure to everything. And then if you have more love, then abundance flows a lot more naturally because you take more responsibility for your life, and just the whole process of being love and becoming love is a very evolved spiritual process. And the more evolved spiritually you are, the more money will just come, the more value you bring to other people, which love does, the more money just comes. So sometimes I think our focus needs to be a little bit more aligned with, well, a lot more aligned with love than sometimes money. Because if we have love, money flows naturally. But if you focus on money, love won't flow naturally. You have to kind of relearn things, and sometimes people never figure it out, and they're rich and lonely. So
Wow. The last line was a very bold line. It was a bold statement. And Chelsea, where can people find you? And if you can share a little about your program, like what you do, what you offer, it would be very great.
yeah, no problem. So, for more information on investment strategies, send them to my www.thecryptogoddess.com. And I help people for free with investment strategies. So, with love, I'm a love mentor and a dating coach. I also do matchmaking. That website is lovementorchelsea.com, LOVEMENTOR Chelsea, CHELSEA.com. Link is in my Instagram bio, on my Love Mentor Chelsea Instagram bio. And I also have a personal website, chelseapenner.com. On chelseapenner.com, you can get in touch with me there. I will respond. I also will respond on Validity, especially if someone wants to ask me questions that require a response more than just yes or no. If you want like a advice, but you don't want to book a session with me, then you can go to belenity.com and I will respond there.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. It was a very great listening to you. I really enjoyed every line of this interview.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it as well, Caleb. You've been amazing and you have such a bright future ahead of you. I can't believe you're just in college. You sound so mature and so bright. And you do such a good job. I love you sent me examples of your work and I was just so impressed. So keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing amazing.